But he's only about 7 years. You just can't see it. Well, the excuse is he's too long. They make it accommodation.
If anyone would like to speak, please sign up now. Si alguien quiere hablar, por favor, llenen el papel ahora.
I left the paper home. Anyway.
I guess it's us today, Aaron, just us, because there are 9. Hi, Andrew.
Hola. You're not in Florida too, are you, Andrew? Jersey Shore. Right. Very jealous, Erica.
Next time I should be to relax.
We miss you. Huh? Oh, my bad.
Right, I love it. That's what we want to be right now. Yes.
Well, I heard we have our next meeting down in Florida. Right.
Then I got stuck.
Don't give these folks ideas.
Right. I mean, one a year. We're not asking for a lot.
It's like both of them lots.
The coldest day of the year. That's the one we want down in Florida.
That was last week.
Right. Hopefully. I was camping with my son.
Can we stand for the salute, please?
2 degrees below. It's crazy. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to advise those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken has been provided to the public in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this regular monthly February board meeting was given by publication of the annual meeting notice of the authority with amendments as necessary. Was sent to the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger on Tuesday, January 31st, 2023, and sent to the City Clerk of Hoboken on Tuesday, January 31st, 2023, with a copy of the agenda to be posted on the aforementioned bulletin board in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted on the authority website on Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. I direct the minutes of this meeting to state that I have announced the adequate notice of this meeting has been given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Good evening. Roll call, Director.
Anthony Forbes.
Present.
Andrew Impastato.
Here.
Aaron Lewitt. Present. Barbara Reyes.
Here.
Michael Russo.
Present.
James Sanford. Erica Seitzman.
Present.
I'm sorry.
Kevin Grooms.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Kevin Bloom.
Could you spell your last?
G-R-O-O-M-E-S.
Thank you.
How you doing, guys? How you doing, everybody? I keep telling you about my house, about these pet problems I'm having, about the water bugs, and I keep telling y'all over and over, and it's not getting done. And the one you got now, the guy come on the house, I don't know who, because they're horrible. They are horrible. And second question, Director, what's going on about the buildings down here? Are you gonna knock, like, the building, are you gonna knock them down, or how far are we doing that?
I'll be doing a full report on that during my session.
So how long, is that next year, or?
I'll be doing a full report during my session.
Okay. Like I said, I'm just worried about the pet problem in my house. That's all. And I keep telling y'all, and I saw your pictures too. Like last meet, I saw your the traps like that, the water bugs in the house. It's embarrassing. You know, I'll go Home Depot get some spray. You know, and it's ridiculous. So what I'm going to do, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna hire somebody off and get you out the bill, and y'all could take care of the bill like that. Because what you got now ain't doing the job. Ain't coming on. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Holmes. Michelle Hussein?
She's spelled your last name?
Yes, Lessah. Good evening, everyone. I just have a question about the policy that was put out about the curfew, 10 p.m. I have people that visits me like in the springtime and summertime. My brother's military and my sister and them come from South Carolina. I don't think it's fair. I understand that y'all put this in place because of all the stuff that's going on. But sometimes when we all go hang out, we sit in front of my door, we're just sitting there on the ledge. And I don't think it's fair to us, the good ones, that we have to suffer from a lot of the other ones. Like, a lot of times they know who the problematic people are, like they could do something about that. But it's not fair to us. It's not fair to me that I gotta tell my brother, oh, we can't sit outside. We're grown folks. I pay rent here. We grown folks, and we can't sit outside. I'm always in the house. I think I deserve to sit outside. If it's in springtime, if it starts getting warm, there's time I like to come out with a chair and just sit there and look at the skunks and all that. But I like to sit there, and I don't think it's fair that I have to go in can't go in my house 10 o'clock. One night I came from church, 11:30 at night, and I was walking, and I seen people outside. I said, okay. Walking through, and I seen all the cops. They were standing. I guess they were doing their duty, and they was just standing there afterwards, and they looked at me. And I was like, well, I ain't supposed to be outside. I'm coming from church. Like, you know, it's kind of embarrassing, guys. I mean, I understand you just want to implement this and do something about it. But you got to think about the good people, too, that just want to sit outside when there's nothing else to do. You know, I mean, I'm just take that in consideration. I understand maybe you can revisit this and see what else you can do. But just to tell people that they can't sit outside, especially we're not problematic. We pay our rent and we sitting outside just to get some fresh air. It's just unfair. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hussein. Manuel Rivera Soler?
Sorry, just gotta get this to stay where it's supposed to. Thank you. Madam Chair, Manuel Rivera Soler, 529 Park Avenue. If Madam Chair could please, when the director or whomever is going to give information in regards to the resolutions, if you can, 230203 and 230206. If the members of the public can get a little more information on those two. Now I would like to see if I have enough time to ask a few more follow-ups from last meeting's agenda when the director was speaking and you all were discussing in regards to the lack of employees that you were requesting or asking for. The maintenance, has anyone have applied or anyone has been hired? That would be good information to give members of the public. I'm sure you will do it in your report if you have it. And as well as, I would like to mention You also said you would be power washing certain sections of certain buildings in the housing. I would like to know how that schedule has been going and which sections of which buildings or which sidewalks are being power washed or will be power washed. That would be also helpful for members of the public, especially people who have need for special attention when they walk, meaning disabled folks. I would also like to ask, and this is a big question, and it's not even a question, it's more of a comment, about the wait list for the I guess the wait list, not being redundant. Could you please let members of the public know a little bit more if you have more details on when that wait list is going to be open? How are you going to let the general public know as to how to or when to apply for these for this wait list? There are many, many people asking and who are in need. I was at a meeting the other day in regards to, it doesn't pertain to this, but in regards to affordable housing. So everyone is looking for affordable housing and Section 8 and whatever is out there, but if members of the public can hear as to where it is, that would be also greatly appreciated. And which also leads me to the redevelopment of the housing. It went through the council in first reading. Again, if the greater public of Hoboken can get information, but as well residents of the housing, when the details of these redevelopments come up, if you're asking for folks, and they were asked in the council meeting to be at these meetings to give input, I'm assuming that members of the public would be better served if you could advertise it more, or let more people know, or I don't know how we would do it, that both parties, whereas the city council, everyone should be told. So that way we could get more people, because we need more members of the public in all of these meetings so they can give their input. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attention, for your polite attention and your answers of your question. God bless you, God bless Hoboken, and God bless the housing and the residents of the Housing Authority. Thank you.
God bless you too, sir. Bless you too, sir.
Is that all? That's all.
Madam Chair, I think Patricia Wade sent me a text and she was on her way to speak, but I don't know if
Unfortunately, I can't stop the meeting.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I informed you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
Motion.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. That works, right?
Okay. I guess we all agree?
Yes,
They got thumbs up. They got thumbs up.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
close it.
Thank you, Chairperson. And I think as I go through my report tonight, I'll be addressing a number of the issues that came up that the public had to ask. So on our committees, we had 2 committee meetings this past month, a facilities meeting and a professional procurement meeting, and I'll be addressing them both as I go through my report. Regarding our award of a special allocation of capital funding that we announced last month that we did a competitive grant process for, the funds will be used for courtyard paving replacement, main entrance and gate replacement.
I'm sorry, maintenance and,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Mark.
Maintenance and gate replacement at the courtyard with the goal of securing the courtyard for residents only. Security camera installation on each floor and the rooftop at Harrison Gardens. A hallway and stairwell refurbishment, painting, tread repair, and any other REAC issues as funding allows. To this end, we've begun a series of meetings with our architectural engineering firms. First step, to start getting some cost estimates and see how far the money's going to go, and we'll keep you informed as we move along. This is brand new, but we've already been meeting with the architects and engineering firms. On the Kyola's Way, good news, we have finally obtained the signage to create the commemorative designation for Ms. Cologne at the Marshall Drive Horseshoe. We have been in touch with Ms. Cologne's family to schedule the event, so we're speaking with them on when thinking the end of March, beginning of April, right around in there. We've talked to the family, and as that develops, we'll be sharing that news with you. We talked to Ms. Cologne's mother. Security issues, a number of issues fall under that. Our yearly request for proposals for community services has been published. We've got a pre-proposal meeting scheduled for Friday, February 17th at 10 a.m. Proposals are due back on February 28th. So ones that are back, we'll have those to the March board meeting. The pre-proposal meeting will be a Zoom meeting, so if anyone wants to participate in there, if you've picked up an RFP package at our office, you will automatically be invited to that meeting. You do need to stop by or email Emil or myself to get a proposal packet. We do that again so we can track who exactly gets the packet, so if any addendums come out or any changes, we know who got the packets. We are beginning a design on a defensible space concept of fencing in the rear areas of our property that abuts the light rail. At our RAB board meeting, which I'll mention later, there was a lot of talk about what's going on behind 300, 310, 320, 400, and all the issues we're having back there. We are talking to the police department about those, but also I strongly believe that we can address the problem through some passive defensible space concepts back there. We have put some money aside in this year's capital fund money to do a fencing project back there. Our managers continue to surveil the video cameras. We've increased our number of resident meetings. We did have a resident meeting at Harrison Gardens on February 1st. The 300, 320 issues came up again. The increased lighting came up again at that meeting. So we're looking to respond to all of the issues that came up. I think the resident concerns that came up at that meeting we've already addressed as well. Barbara, thanks. Barbara was at that meeting. Thought it went well. We just need to have more people. Right? So we keep putting the word out. And as spring comes, we'll keep those meetings going. Our Hoboken Housing Forward update, which is the redevelopment update. Again, remember that we're laying our foundation. It's a step-by-step process. We're making progress every day. Sometimes it takes a while, so folks don't hear a lot out there, but we're moving. So the city did pass the selection of a planning firm for the redevelopment plan. That redevelopment plan is going to take about 6 months. So in the meantime, the planning group is going to come in. They're going to use our strategic plan as their base, and we'll be forming together a redevelopment plan with the city for the Housing Authority sites. I'm pleased to report that the city chose Hired Gruhl & Associates for the planning consultant. And I say I'm pleased because we had a great experience with them doing our strategic plan. They already know us. They know our properties. They know the process so far. On February 2nd, I did participate with the city staff on the selection process, the interview process, so the Housing Authority is included right from the beginning. And on February 2nd, we had a kickoff meeting. The planning team, Hired Gruhl. And when I say planning team, I mean planning team really is the consultant, the city, the Housing Authority right now, and that includes residents. They'd like to meet with the Housing Authority board in person to get things moving. So they will have a couple weeks to be getting their feet on the ground and meeting with you. Now, while they're here in person, they are also going to be meeting with the Resident Advisory Board. While they are here that day, they will be in town all day, and then have a larger meeting open to all residents with the Hoboken community as well. So that will probably take place in March. So we'll have a meeting with the board toward the end of February, the Resident Advisory Board, then a larger meeting with all residents and the Hoboken community to bring everyone up to speed at the beginning of March. Now, this is in the planning process. All the answers aren't answered yet. So this is part of a process, and it's a good process. So suggested dates are February 23rd, 27th, and 28th. If anyone can communicate with me from the board on if there's any obstacles to any of those days, I would presume we're talking about a 7 o'clock meeting. And if you would get those back to me by text or email, or come up and tell me after the meeting, I'd appreciate it. Again, February 23rd, 27th, or 28th is when they are available to come to Hoboken. Okay? They are tasked with an aggressive 6-month completion schedule. We will work closely with them, we already are, to schedule meetings, publicize the information. You'll find everything up on our website, and share information as needed. So that thing's moving along. The second part of our Hoboken Housing Forward is our obsolescence study. In order to move the process forward, we had to conduct an obsolescence study. That is required by HUD so the professionals can come in and say, yes, indeed, our buildings are obsolete, that they need serious, substantial renovation and or redevelopment. That study is complete. That was complete as of last week. All of our sites have been deemed, according to HUD guidelines, obsolete. So that now gives us the ability to move forward with an application to HUD's strategic office, which is in Chicago, and once that's approved, we can then proceed with the replacement of our buildings, redevelopment of our buildings under RAD and Section 18 guidelines. So it's got to be step by step. Redevelopment plan's going on, the obsolescence plan is done. That's being submitted to the special HUD division to give us permission to move forward from there under the RAD program. Capital needs study. We have published an RFP requesting an engineering firm to produce a capital needs plan for our 10-year period. The plan will anticipate changing capital needs, funding levels as we progress through the redevelopment. It will answer questions such as, should the Housing Authority take some of its capital money and contribute to the redevelopment process? Or, as we move along, we're still going to have folks living in our public housing buildings. What do we need to do in those buildings? What investments do we need to make? What investments should we hold off on as we redevelop? So that's a HUD requirement. We did not get responses to that RFP. We have republished the RFP. We're going to make a couple changes in it before we accept it, and we're hoping to have that to you in the March meeting. Another step. HMFA, who is, no matter what we do, a major financing partner. We have scheduled an introductory meeting for this coming Monday with the Housing Finance Agency. We will be discussing with them the availability of their financing, their tax credits. We're going to be sharing our strategic plan with them, where we're going to be, and getting an idea from them on how much they predict in their magic ball, crystal ball, of how much funding they will have available year by year as we go through our redevelopment plan. So it's our first strategic meeting with HMFA, with the Housing Mortgage Finance Agency. We do intend to publish an RFP for special legal counsel at the end of February. We think we'll have it out at the end of February, maybe the first week of March, but that's happening now. So we would think that maybe the April board meeting, we would have that back to you as a board. Tonight you have in front of you a procurement policy amendment. It's before you tonight. It was discussed in depth at the procurement committee on February 6th. We did change slightly our original draft, and I think when we talk about that resolution we'll explain more, but I think we're on the right track with that. Enterprise partners. Our redevelopment team continues to meet with the enterprise partners. With the Fitzpatrick Law Firm, Housing Authority staff, and HUD representation from a very high level. So for those of you that don't see a lot of progress, we're meeting regularly. Right? We are meeting with HUD. We are moving as fast as we can. We've got technical assistance given to us by HUD, so they are people that have done redevelopments across the country fairly and equitably. They are watching us. They report back to HUD to make sure we're going as fast as we can, to give us advice and technical assistance as we move forward. So we're working closely with them. We also, with the enterprise team, we're beginning our work on projecting the management needs and positioning into 2023 and beyond. We're developing a training schedule for HHA staff on what those needs are going to be as we move forward with some renovated buildings and or new buildings. We'll be working specifically on revamping our total procurement policy. Tonight you have an amendment to our existing procurement policy in front of you. But our next step on that is to revise the entire procurement policy. That will take a little bit longer, but we're working with Enterprise on that now. We're also working with them on a record retention system revamped for us. Public and resident outreach, we remain available for any forums. If you know of a forum you'd like us to come and speak at, be glad to do it. If you have a group that you want us to come to, you want me to come to, invite me. We'll be glad to come. We'll be glad to educate the public as we move forward and tell folks exactly where we are. We are also always open to intakes at my office if anyone wants to come and see me and sit down with a cup of coffee. We can sit down and bring anyone up to date on where we are. So we're open to you.
Director, quick question. On the training schedules, is there a way where any of the commissioners may be able to sit in on some of those, just so we have a better understanding as well?
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
As a matter of fact, one of the main people, Ms. Valerie Jackson, who works with Enterprise, is working her schedule out to see when she can come for a couple days.
Okay, great.
So that'll be a perfect time.
Yeah, great.
And one thing I'll just point out as usual reminder, any more than 3 would be violation of the sunshine law, or maybe a violation of the sunshine law. So if for some reason there's enough interest, we can figure out who would attend and report back. Then I'll leave that all up to you. I just want to remind you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. So I want to present our new handbook. It was passed out to residents today, and we also have a newsletter. Ms. Corinne Richmond has played lead on that. Corinne, you want to say a few things about our new handbook and our newsletter?
Sure. She did a great job.
She did, didn't she?
She did. It's good. Very good.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So, as the director said, this is the handbook, and pretty much what this is it outlines your right as residents and also your duties as residents, and it also outlines our rights and our duties. So we have to be held accountable. So this is pretty much an outline of everything that we are supposed to do for you and what you are also supposed to do for us. And this is the very first edition. So there are amendments and new elements that we are going to add to this. So if you read through all these and you find that there is something that you would like to add or discuss or you don't understand, you can either call your manager, put that in writing, and we would address that, okay? And the newsletter, I don't know if any of you reads that. So if you want a copy, it's also available on the website. And the good thing is it's also in Spanish. So whenever you flip a page in English, there's also a page in Spanish to make it accessible to everyone. We were not able to do that with the handbook because of the volume. It was a big publication. But if you need a copy in Spanish, you can always ask your manager and I will provide you with one, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Good job, Greg.
Thank you. And we do appreciate Corinne's leadership on that. But also, I want you to know that the entire staff had input here. We had numerous meetings that Corinne led with our management department, with maintenance. We went over it and over it and over it in a number of drafts. So we're very proud of it. We hope to serve you and communicate more and more in the future. So again, if you see anything in there that you don't understand or you think it's wrong, feel free to give us a note and we'll take a look at it from there. Good stuff. COVID-19 seems to be at a bit of a lull, knock on wood. We've still had a couple people out over the past couple months and some quarantine issues, but we're doing fairly well. The renovation work at Fox Hill is in process. Lighting's already brightened up our hallways. Plumbing cabinet and countertop work is in process. I believe you were at the last job meeting, Aaron?
Yep.
So things are
moving along, but there's cabinets that we can't get our hands on. So, you know, supply problems.
Supply problems are everywhere. You're going to hear about supply problems 2 more times tonight. So, but we're moving ahead.
So you'll fault Matt.
That's right. Housing for Hoboken met on January 25th, and our next meeting is on February 21st. Special capital projects, as noted above, we're moving forward with Harrison Gardens. I did make a mistake in my printed report. The emergency generator work for CCG and Monroe is finally getting underway, for Christopher Columbus and Monroe. If you'll remember...
Excuse me, sir, it's Adams.
Adams. Oh, no, see, but I'm still making that mistake. The prep work...
So it's not Monroe then?
Nope, it's Adams.
Okay,
Monroe was replaced just about 2 years ago.
okay.
Yep, thank you, Emma.
Oh, that's my boy.
Prep work will begin in the next couple of weeks, so we're moving forward with that. That leaves us only with part of Andrew Jackson that does not have renewed emergency generators. So we expect that we're bidding that out hopefully for next summer work. But that's also, if you remember, we've been waiting 9 months for those generators to get in. So glad to have that moving forward. The installation paperwork for the new boilers at Andrew Jackson Gardens through CDBG that you approved is underway. Again, 6 to 7 months on delivering new boilers. It's just where it is right now in our world, right? So great, they'll be replaced next summer. We'll have them in operation for next winter. Because we did come in under budget on that boiler project, we are able to bid out a boiler replacement project at Monroe Gardens. If you'll remember, last summer we replaced the system at Adams, and now we'll be able to fund and bid out, that's being drawn up now, the boiler over at Monroe. CDBG funds will be funding an increased lighting project for HHA. The city graciously gave us right around $50,000 to do a lighting project, so we expect to light up the exteriors of our buildings even more than they are now. I do plan on doing that work under the electrical contractor that we've come to you on a resolution later to approve. A number of RFPs have been put out. We've been busy on that. They were put out Tuesday. As I mentioned earlier, Resident Services Program Providers is out. A strategic plan for capital funds that I mentioned earlier. General Legal Services and Special Legal Services is out for RFP. And our Security Consultant Services, which is our camera folks that takes care of our cameras. So they're all being bid this month. We are going to be asking for a procurement committee after the proposals are received on the 28th, but before the next board meeting. My intent also this month is to put out a new RFP for an answering service contractor. So that's coming. We've heard you. That's coming. Management has been focused on 3 initiatives to achieve and maintain that 96% or better occupancy rate. This past month at public housing, we hit HUD's goal, 95% occupancy. Great, which is even better than Hoboken's overall rate, but wasn't quite at our 96, but we're staying strong at 95 and 96% occupancy at Fox Hill. We also have 18 units ready to be leased as of February 1st, so we should be seeing those percentages pop up for our next report. So we've got attachment 4 as your vacancy report for Fox Hill. Fox Hill had 1 move-in, 1 move-out, and 1 transfer. At public housing, we had 1 move-in, 1 move-out, and we performed 5 transfers over the last 30 days. I know sometimes it seems to folks that they're waiting forever for transfers, and we're working through that list as fast as we can. So we're working on our PIC system with HUD, making progress, and we've made significant progress again in the issue of tenants' accounts receivables. I continue to encourage any resident with an outstanding balance to contact their manager to forestall any legal action. We will work with you. We entered about 30 additional new agreements in the last 30 days with a promise to pay of about $100,000. We continue to make appointments for that. Having gone over vacancies and tenants' accounts receivables, Frank, you want to update us a little bit on maybe the 20 and where we are on that?
Good evening, everybody. As the director mentioned, we did have an extra 30 repayments that came in. When we first started having this conversation with everybody, it was around September, and we had a group of families and we had a plan to get as many folks to sign up. Since then and up to this point, what we have is 120 repayment agreements altogether. If you know of anybody who either has a balance or wants it, no matter how small or how large, we will work with them on a repayment. Our next effort right now, what we would like to attempt, and this is something that we've kind of softly discussed, is now the big group of folks who are left is the middle, folks who owe more than $1,000, less than $10,000. What we propose and what we're saying is to just go ahead and do a repayment agreement that gets sent out to those families. So let's say if somebody owes $5,000, it'll just be split over the longest possible term that we have, which is 120 months, 10 years, is the most we can give somebody. It's at zero interest, right? So basically what we want to do is we want to let that land on somebody's mailbox so that they can then, without, maybe it's uncomfortable for some people to talk about finances, and maybe the folks who have not come to us, it could be a matter of like, listen, I want to talk to my manager about my money or what happened. So this is an opportunity for anybody who feels that way to just sign the contract and pay back, and they're good. In there would be a letter explaining, hey, it's no interest as long as you make this payment, and that would take off so much of the headache that people feel from being behind. That feeling is a terrible feeling.
Okay, if they do the contract and you said no fee, but how they get in the situation that they miss 1 month, that they can't do, they go to the site manager and tell them?
Correct. So once you're in a repayment agreement, it's even more important than when you're, it's always important to pay your rent, right? But once you're in a repayment agreement, now we've kind of said, listen, we want to work with you, so we're asking that you work with us to get to that point that at the end of the day, any money that we get back from these repayments is going back to you guys in the way of services and anything that we can do through maintenance, right? So we just want to be able to capture as much of that as possible. So if everybody's in agreement and we can find the proper way to do that in the next 30 days, I think that's an effort that we can push for, and that would catch a big chunk of people. So let's say that we can get 30% of those folks to just return that back. That already would be a significant improvement from where we are right now. So everything that we've done up to this point, and we continue moving, it's adding up. Hopefully the response, what you're getting from your neighbors and your families and your friends is that, I'm in the repayment. I don't have to worry about that. And the more of us that can communicate and help each other get to that point, the better. So.
Can you talk to creditors too? Oh, that sounds good.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that.
That sounds good.
Our intent is to open the waiting list for 1-bedroom and efficiency units in March. We would expect that we will have this to the board for approval at the March board meeting and be able to open up that waiting list right after the board meeting, mid-March. So the 1-bedrooms and the 0-bedrooms, efficiencies, studios, many names for those. Our waiting list on those is getting short. Our waiting list from the last waiting list process for our other units is still long. So we don't need new applicants for those. We just need applicants for the efficiencies and the 1-bedroom units. We would expect that we will open that up next month, and that will be done the same process that we did last time. We will open it up for folks to apply. Applications will be taken, and then once those applications are closed off, a lottery will be held, all right? So if we get 5,000 applications, we're going to announce how many we're going to take. If we can only take 500, we will pick 500 names out of those by lottery, all right? And then they will be placed on the waiting, then they are placed on the waiting list. The first step is an application to be put on the waiting list. The second process is a lottery to actually be put on the waiting list. So that process will be used. When we come with the resolution, we will have that process detailed in very clear message, very clear to you. We will be talking about what third party will be monitoring that process with us and how we're going to do that exactly. So you will see that coming. I think we're ready to go out and do that right after the board meeting in March. Okay.
Director,
Yes.
quick question on that.
Sure.
I know that you're saying 1 bedrooms and studios.
Yes.
So when you say the 1 bedrooms, is that in the regular housing authority or meaning like the family buildings? Because I know, so it's both.
It's both.
Not Fox Hill.
Well, I'll get to Fox Hill next.
Yeah.
Okay.
As part of this discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
Fox Hill is a separate waiting list. We are going to open it up for Fox Hill too, right? But there's a public housing waiting list now and there's a Fox Hill waiting list. So both of those will be open. And that will include our elderly and disabled buildings as well as our main campus buildings. Anywhere else there's a 1-bedroom or a 50.
Okay, thank you.
And this will be in much more detail next month, as the director described, but if anybody wanted to be considered for both, you'd have to submit 2 applications.
Okay.
But there's no studio over there.
And then you would be in both lotteries. Okay? We have formed an internal group with staff, just to tell everyone, that's working on our pet policy. So we do intend over the next 30, 60 days to have a new enforcement policy out on pets. The incidents of unleashed dogs that threatening our personal enjoyment, we're going to be taking action on this. And we need to get the dogs that are not registered out. We need to get the dogs that are not in compliance with our policy out. So you're going to see us take this step by step. You're going to see us coming and talking to you at your re-examination time, as well as with any inspections we do on units. Was there a dog in the unit? Yes. Is that dog registered with us? No. That's a problem. Was that dog too big for our pet policy? That's a problem. So you're going to see us taking action on this over the next couple months. The selection of a new laundry service supplier is before the board tonight. You know, we've been working on this for a while. The facilities committee met on February 2nd, and we're all set to go with that as long as the board passes the resolution tonight. I should mention that the RAB board did meet on February 7th. I didn't put that in my report. I missed it last night. We talked about security. We talked about budgets, upcoming events. We talked about the redevelopment projects, as I've talked to you tonight, and we went over our new criminal policy as well as our nighttime policy at that meeting. On housing choice vouchers, we are revising our project-based voucher request for proposal. We're just grinding away at it to try to get it right. On our maintenance report for tonight, Sammy, where's Sammy? Where's he hiding? Do you want to say anything about power washing?
Well, the power washing, we stopped it for the season.
Stopped it for the season?
Yes, so we will continue once the weather starts getting much better.
You did a great job in the Harrison Courtyard?
We did the Harrison Courtyard, we did the Jackson Side Street. We did a few of the basements as well, that they were much needed due to sewage backup when it rains. And we'll just keep plugging away at them. Once the weather gets much better, then we'll put the machine outside and start running them. We'll continue running it. You will have a report in regards to having that power wash system when it starts.
Thanks, Sammy. And yeah, we don't want to give any of our guys pneumonia, so we stopped for the winter, but it's moving along. So building cleanliness is a big topic. We did talk about bringing on additional building maintenance workers who are working for us. We have since hired 4 part-time employees to bolster that cleaning staff. We just got notice, by the way, that 2 of those, not those employees, other employees on that BMW staff are going to be leaving us. Fine, they're good, great relationship, but they're moving on. One guy's retiring, and then one guy's just going on to something else in his life. Fine, so we will be bringing on 2 more to replace them. So we're moving ahead with that. We're bidding out the work that would provide a regular 4-month cycle of floor stripping and waxing and stairwell deep cleaning. My concept there is we take that off of the day-to-day. Our guys can then come back, our guys and ladies can then come back and maintain that. But if we have a 4-month cycle of a company coming in, stripping, waxing, doing a great job on the floor stripping and deep cleaning, so we're specifying those now, and we're going to be taking bids on those soon. It should be mentioned again that building cleanliness takes all of us. Takes all of us, right? When people leave trash in the hallways, when people try to stick Christmas trees down the trash chutes, when, you know, I mean, it takes all of us. So please keep in touch with us. Please keep your eyes open. We try to respond as quickly as possible, and I think you've seen we have when somebody contacts us with a particular problem, but it's hard. Our guys can go through at 2 in the afternoon, and by 4 o'clock, somebody's done something untoward in the stairwells. So we're working hard at it to give you the best service we can. As noted last month, again, we currently have a building mechanic position open as well. We had one of our good mechanics leave us a couple months ago, so we're taking applications for a good mechanically skilled building maintenance individual. We continue regular extermination services, and I hear you about the extermination, and we'll try to get out to your apartment just as soon as we can tomorrow. And one of our recent focuses has been on this rodent issue. They're everywhere, and we keep fighting them. We're focusing on extra cleanliness to close up any accesses that these rodents have to our buildings from the outside or from the cellars up into the buildings, and extra extermination measures. Number of things we're doing specifically. Extra rodent poison boxes deployed at the exterior of our buildings. Those are those black boxes that you see outside the buildings. Staff has a special project to close up interior holes from the exterior to the interior of our buildings. Any abandoned drains, electrical chases, things that have been left for over the last 70 years, that there's a crack, there's a way that a rodent can get into our buildings. Sammy's crew is actually going through, concreting them, cementing them up, closing them up, so the animals can't get into our buildings. Of course, we're still going around filling up holes on the outside, and as you may know, we fill them, they build a new one. We fill them, they dig a new one. So we're keep at that though. If you see something, contact us. We'll be glad to send a crew out. We're clearing out any old or abandoned equipment in our basement areas, doing a lot of work in our cellars, making sure that they have no place to nest, that they're disinfected and clean. We have extra dumpsters on order to provide more trash area so that our dumpsters don't get full and overflowing. And again, spring is coming, right? Spring and summer, and that's when the big problems are. We are performing special cleaning and painting in our compactor areas. Our new BMW supervisor, Joseph, is having all compactor rooms deep cleaned, painted, and treated. And we're actually painting, so it looks nice, shiny. He's requiring staff to keep them that way, doing regular inspections, because those are real harbors, those compactor rooms. So we want to make sure they're clean, that they're sealed off, that they can't get anywhere else in the building. And of course, we continue to work on special emergency and preventative repairs due to the age of our buildings. I did put attachment 5, as I always do, on your director's report tonight, and that has, once you get your head around this, that has 8 major plumbing issues that we've had to resolve in the last 30 days. That's not maintenance. That is capital improvement. So when our staff reacts, shows up to that leak, opens the wall, fixes 10 feet of pipe, comes in, makes it happen, closes it up professionally, gets back, closes up that wall. Those are big projects for our staff. And I just got to tell you, I'm proud of them. When you take a look month to month to month, what Sammy, Jackie, and your crew does out there on doing that, I mean, it's amazing. They're doing great work that would cost us thousands of dollars to outsource all the time. And it's almost impossible because, you know, my whack-a-mole thing, right? I get up there.
Excuse me, Mark. Can we just mute the phones, please?
I get up on Patterson Plank and I look down at all of our properties and it's like, oh, boom, where's it going to happen next? Where's it going to happen next? Because it never stops. It just keeps going, right? But we're prepared. We can run. We've got talented people on our staff that work really, really hard for you out there. So thank you for that, Sam. I just want to have everyone understand that this isn't normal stuff. If you have a building that's 5 years old, this doesn't happen, right? It just doesn't. And we don't get paid any extra money. HUD doesn't give us extra money for this. We get paid the same amount of money that a brand new building does. And we got to make it happen with that reduced funding. Harrison Elevator, I wrote in here, great news, the elevator's back in service. And then we got a call about an hour ago saying it was down about an hour ago. They're on their way out to get it back working. I went, oh man. Yeah, but it's back. The 310 elevator is back. They'll have it back in service shortly. We're close to completion of carbon monoxide detectors in all of our units, only a few left. The addition of that gate at Mama Johnson Field's complete, and by the end of March we'll have that panic bar release on the interior of that gate before summer comes. Snow removal equipment is ready to go. I hope we still don't have to use it, but it's there and ready to go. Boiler systems are up and running. We did have a major water line valve break at Adams Garden over the weekend of January 28th. I'm incredibly proud of our staff, the professional response that they had over the weekend. By Sunday, it was done, it was complete, it was fixed with very minor inconvenience to our residents over at Adams. We had to shut the water down, I think, for a couple hours. They got in, got it fixed, and back out. So, good team. As time allows, I'm approving overtime work for our maintenance team, led by Sammy, to address REACT violations found during last year's REACT inspection. Of course, we're getting ready. 2023 inspections will be here any time. And I'd like to put an add-on to that I do intend to bring in a independent third-party team to do a pre-REACT inspection for us before the REACT inspectors get here, in order to identify issues and strategize on how we can get our score up to where it needs to be. We're never, with our buildings, you're never going to get 100. Probably never going to get 85. But we can pass our REACT inspections with the wind at our back.
Just a quick question there.
Yes.
We failed the last one, right?
I'm sorry, I cannot understand him.
He said, did we fail the last one?
Yes, we did. Yes, we
I
did.
said we felt the last one right.
Yes, we did.
So what is Sammy getting paid overtime to do if you're going to hire the inspector to come in and tell us what to fix?
So Sammy's actually doing the repairs already. From the last REACT inspection, when they said that there's a threshold with a tripping hazard, he's fixing that threshold with the tripping hazard. When he said down in the boiler room, there might have been a box that wasn't completely secured for electrical equipment, he's securing that electrical box. He's already going through those inspections and following where we had the most points and addressing those issues. So he's actually fixing them. Now what I want next is somebody to come in and tell us what's new in REACT, because they look at different things every year. They usually have a focus every year. So they know they can come in, tell us exactly where we ought to be focusing the rest of our efforts for the year, see what we can do to actually try to get that passing grade this coming year.
When was the failed inspection?
The last inspections were last summer, and I don't have the dates with me, but they were during the summertime last year.
So from last summer, done anything to fix those issues?
That's what Sammy is doing with his crew. He's going through step by step, item by item, to fix as many as he can. Now, you give me $5 million, I'll fix all of them.
Yeah, I hear you. What I'm concerned about is, I hope we're not leaving it to like the last minute here.
No.
And that's why we're paying overtime.
No, that's why I'm.
Instead of like,
Commissioner,
piecemealing through the whole process, you know, over the course of the year.
Yeah. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Now he's busy with, you know, leaks and pipes.
Yeah.
It seems like now we're like in the fourth quarter, like, oh man, now we got to pay him overtime to fix some of these issues that we've left for the course of the year.
Yeah, we're not quite in halftime yet. We're getting there. But we're maybe into the third quarter now. And he's been working on it since the first quarter. So, you know, that's why I bring it up, because they are working. We are making that investment month to month to month, right?
Unfortunately, we have pipes broken every month, so it's not something where he can say, well, I'm going to leave it and then do it, because every month we're going through this on our bills.
Right.
And on the report that they're having major issues, so.
And the pipes are generally worth, you know, they work for 75 years. A lot of them break at 65 years. But 75 years, they all need to be replaced, or you have a headache.
Yeah, I know. I live here. I see it every day.
Those are some of the issues we're dealing with, Commissioner Passato, that if we could hire 20 guys and have them out, we could probably pass easily. Given, though, that our buildings are just that old, that things are constantly happening to them. Things are constantly deteriorating, and we're constantly addressing them. But our scores have gotten better. Matter of fact, HUD told us last year they were pretty pleased with the progress we made, and we're hoping this year that we'll get over that hump this year. But we'll try it. We'll keep on. We'll keep on.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are moving ahead with a special project before summer to get to require all air conditioners at HHA to be installed with an HHA supplied and installed window bracket. So we're out shopping for window brackets, and we're going to be rolling that out in April and May. That every single air conditioner is going to have a window bracket. Financing is working on HMFA project closeout, contract management. We've been working with Enterprise on where we need some additional bolstered staff, and I agree with them that a position that is usually called a modernization coordinator is needed. This is somebody that would be working directly for EML. This is somebody that would be working on writing, publishing, and doing contract management and budgets on construction work, on special project work, making sure all of the guidelines are met under HUD contracts, whether it be Section 3 guidelines on project area residents, prevailing wages, that whole range of things, making sure inspections are being done, making sure employee interviews are being done. Right now, it's really shared between Emil and I, and it's time we got some help. We're going to have a lot of work going on over the next couple of years. So, yeah, and once we start building, once we start moving, yeah, we're going to need that position. So, we're developing the job description for that now. One of the things that I'm excited about that looks good for us is we are working on a procedure for sending a monthly billing statement out to every resident. Every resident.
Nice.
That you would get a monthly statement from us mid-month, right about mid-month, say mid-month in February, that says on March 1st, this is what you owe us, right? And it will detail that.
And where are we with being able to do like the online payments? Where?
Talked about it today.
Okay.
So we're going back to our banks to see how we can get what's called that ACH approval, and we're going to try to get that approved by the time this rolls out.
That's great.
Director, what was the holdup on that? I forgot what you told me last time. Yeah, we talked about it.
I think it's basically, I'll want to give that background, and I mean, it's basically working that deal with our two banks that we do, that they will allow us to have enough money in their bank to cover the amounts that are paid. Emil, is that fair?
Yeah, it's just getting those forms through with the bank and getting their approval on exactly what the daily limit is going to be for deposit processing. So we just got to coordinate that with BNC and Provident, our two banks.
So why haven't we?
I think we just had other things on our plate.
Can we start?
We have.
Because I think it's going to make it easier
Yeah, we
for
agree.
the residents.
We actually met on it this morning,
Okay.
so we agree.
By next month?
We'll push.
All right.
We'll push.
We'll have a time frame on it, right?
It'll help us too. It'll help us too.
It's going to help with the repayment
We
because I
agree.
feel like if they don't have to go down to the office and they can just do
Absolutely.
it straight out of their bank or
Yeah.
on a button on the website, it's going to be a lot easier
We
for
agree.
everyone.
So we'll
Wasn't
push.
this part of the software? We're supposed to have a new software?
Yeah. And the new software.
Putting a maintenance
Yeah,
request.
Yeah, the new software allows that, we couldn't do this with our old software. But the new software does have that feature baked in, but we just got to connect the new software with the bank. Boom, and then we go.
Can a resident put in a maintenance request currently with the new software?
Not yet.
So what's the holdup there?
Well, we haven't gone to that system of, there's only so much bandwidth in maintenance right now, so we've stayed with the system we have of calling in a work order to the manager. So we just, again, there's only so much bandwidth we have, it's kind of on our checklist, go down that checklist and make that happen.
But the software that we have, a resident can go into the system, but into the system. My toilet is not working.
Yes, they
Is that
will,
right?
they will be able to.
This year, I guess, I think we've been talking about these things for like almost a year now, so. I think we would like to see something. I get it. You've done a lot of down, but to Commissioner Russo's point, maybe some timelines and some goals, and we can help you, or we can see those goals and those timelines and the process and keep them.
Why don't I come back to you at the next meeting with a report on the timeline and what we can do to accomplish this?
That would be great.
Thank you.
Be glad to. We've got two, we're moving over to the final part of my report, which is a resident services report. I'd like to just focus real quickly on two of the major events we have coming up, because we want everyone to be involved. And the two major events, beyond everything else that Daniel's going to talk to us about, is a HHA Hall of Fame series that we're kicking off in the coming week, and a Black History Month celebration that's going to be on the 24th. So what I'm going to ask first is Corinne to talk to us about the Hall of Fame. She's playing lead on that, and then Daniel on that Black History Month celebration, and then Daniel can move on with the rest of his report. Corinne, you want to tell us a little bit about the Hall of Fame series? And this will be a series. This isn't a one-time shot. We're going to be doing this Hall of Fame series over time. All
So I
right?
don't know if everyone has seen that online and on Facebook. The HHA Hall of Fame is pretty much bringing the people that are born and raised here, that have gone up to be lawyers, doctors, teachers, and bring them here to speak to the youth and show them that there are good things that can come out of our community. So it's pretty much us telling our stories. You don't want someone else to write the story because you don't know how a person is going to write it. We don't want someone from the outside to write our stories. Otherwise, it will be stories of crime, it will be stories of all the bad things that are happening here. But if we pick out the good seeds that were born and raised here, and they'll come and speak to our youth to be able to instill those stories of successes. Because these people that were born and raised here, so they have faced the same challenges and they were able to overcome. So they will come and speak to our youth to say that, you know what, I was born and raised here, I was able to make it, you are also able to make it. So this is what we really want to show our youth. You know how they say that representation matters. If you see a black person on TV being a doctor, you would aspire to be a doctor as a black person. If you see a black person on TV doing drugs or all sorts of bad things, this is what you have as an example, and this is what unconsciously you might aspire to be. But if you see good example of people of color, of black people, of people like you that face the same challenges as you, being able to overcome, then it gives you the courage and the motivation to be like them. So this is really what we want to do with this initiative. And this is the very first time that we are doing it. We plan on having a series, so maybe being able to do it every 3 months or every couple of months. But for the very first edition, we really need everyone to come and to be present, because we are going to invite people, and we don't want, we don't want 3 people to show up, So if you have your grandkids, invite them, because this is a great platform for them to be informed and to see people that look like them, that talk like them, that have walked in their shoe, be able to present and showcase great examples. So this is going to be held at 221 Jackson here. We are going to have food. It's a Black History event. We are going to have food. We are going to have music. And this is also going to be possibly a great opportunity for mentorship. So we see how the event will unfold and what we can do in the future. But really, 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 we really need your support. We really need you to invite your grandchildren, your children to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just add, as Daniel gets up, that if you know somebody that's become a super successful attorney in Los Angeles, right, or whatever, or here, or has become a successful plumber, or a successful electrician, refer them over to us, because this series will go on.
Mike Turner.
Thank you.
Start with him, Mike Turner.
Yeah.
Start with Mike Turner.
Yeah, that's right.
On the Housing Authority, became a battalion chief, and now he's a star on Survivor.
You betcha. You betcha. So there are so many people that we're finding, so let's make that happen. Daniel?
And please reach out to Corinne or the office and share those names. We definitely want to make sure to highlight those great achievers that came from the Hoboken Housing Authority. On the same theme of Black History, we're celebrating after, 3-4 years of not celebrating Black History Month. We're back February 24th with the Resident Advisory Board and the entire community. We're going to be celebrating history, culture, and the contribution of African Americans in the States. So this is going to be at 221 Jackson Street, right, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So please join us. It's going to be an amazing event. We want to be able to bring back all of our folks, our community together for this in celebration of Black History Month. I want to go back up to highlights and recognition. As you know, Ray Rodriguez, who is the founder of Amazing Truth Society, which is a karate program of the Housing Authority, decade-long commitment to our kids, right? He was recognized by this premier magazine, martial arts magazine. So he was unable to come tonight. Fortunately, his car broke down, but I wanted to share, his achievement. He's been working with the Hoboken Housing Authority for over, 12 years now. And it's great when, a magazine is able to recognize his commitment, his contribution, and his love for this community. So we really appreciate Ray Rodriguez and the work that he's brought to the Housing Authority. Similarly, Michelle Hussein, a Resident Advisory Board member for Andrew Jackson, had shared this great idea with our councilman, Ruben Ramos, right? About bringing the community together, having a family festival. So yesterday we met with the City of Hoboken representatives, right? And we're planning this amazing event for the summer. So We're bringing together our community, we're bringing together our nonprofits, we're bringing together our businesses in order for us to create inclusion and community engagement in the 4th Ward. So we're going to be coming back with more meetings with our resident advisory board and businesses so that way we can join together in this event. So we're going to be getting more information about this upcoming festival as we start this planning process. So we're very happy that the City of Hoboken is undertaking this event in order to promote more activities and programs for the west side of Hoboken. So really, really excited for that. So I want to share a couple more things in highlights. So Amy Goldman approached the Hoboken Housing Authority through Hug Hoboken and the Girl Scouts. And they want to start a troop here at the Hoboken Housing Authority. So any parents that are interested in being troop leaders, please contact the Hoboken Housing Authority office. We would like to get your name and send it on to Amy Goldman so that way we can start the process of creating Girl Scout troop here in our property, in our community. Also, Heart to Heart is a pilot program that we want to start with our residents here. Any families that's interested in getting a home-cooked meal, we're going to be matched to a Hoboken family. So please let us know if you're interested in participating in this pilot program. So please share. We already put out the flyers, for this amazing program through Hug Hoboken, Heart to Heart, and the Girl Scouts. And I want to go down again to events and programs really quickly. I want to focus Carmen Vega, who is a resident advisory board.
Sorry, who was it?
Carmen Vega, excuse me, who is a resident advisory board member and president for Fox Hill, is having a Super Bowl party this Sunday. So if anyone would like to go and have some fun and watch the game, it starts at 5 p.m., the Super Bowl party, so please join Fox Hill residents, to have fun in this Super Bowl. And finally, go Eagles. Thank you very much.
That's right, Carlos Perez came from there.
Director, I want that stricken from the...
Hey, listen, his brother was the player on there. I used to watch him.
Director,
That's right.
I just have a few things to add. Unfortunately, I didn't send it to Danny prior to the meeting, but just so everyone knows, Hopes has started our free tax preparation program. It started at the beginning of February. So we are preparing taxes for free for anyone in the community. We don't just service Hoboken, we service the entire county, so it doesn't have to be somebody from here, even if you don't live here. Just contact us, reach out. I will send over the flyer tomorrow so that you guys can provide it to the residents not only, but also to your staff. It's open to anyone, so we're willing to do that. And I also want to ask and let you guys know, unfortunately this week we're struggling with a staff member at our Family Resource Center here in the Housing Authority. So because tax season, we're down one staff member. Because tax season has happened, there may be days where the Family Resource Center, we just don't have enough staffing. We'll have a sign up. If they need help, they can always see us at 301 Garden. It's not gonna be a consistent thing. We're gonna try our best to keep it open, but unfortunately this was an unforeseen thing, so we will be working with you guys and I'll be informing you, Frank or Mr. Recco.
Thank you. We always appreciate Hopes very much.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I just want to comment on one thing. I just want to compliment Dan for the effort and the work that he's doing to make sure that our residents have programs and activities to do. That's the housing that I grew up in. My mother was a big part of that, working in the community, arts and crafts and things of that nature. So I'm just happy to see that we have things on the calendar that our residents can participate in. So I just want to say kudos for you, my friend, and also go Birds.
We're gonna mute them.
We lost all control at this meeting. We lost all control.
So in closing, is there anything that our Hoboken Police Department folks would like to say?
Yes.
Sarge, anything?
Commissioner Lozano's on there, right?
Yes, he is. He's on mute, but he's here.
Yeah, I'm listening.
That's right, go ahead.
Could I just have your name?
Sergeant William Collins, Hoboken
Could you
Police.
spell the last name?
Collins.
Thank you.
No, just I'm happy to hear everything going on. That is a great idea. For us, I don't know if anybody has any questions. Everything, knock on wood, has been good lately. I don't want to jinx it. My one tip, I know the commissioner always wants one. I'm going to switch over to a little bit of fire department. Have you seen recently in New York the bicycles, the lithium batteries and stuff? Our fire department actually just tweeted it. If people don't know, we have a new a PIA, she's like a PIO, Marcy Rubin came over, so she's doing the police, fire, EMS, OEM. She's helping with social media, everything like that. So, you know, be careful if you have grandkids or kids or whatever with the scooters or those bikes. Yeah. I mean, even in these apartments, it can happen. You put it in a closet, and so just be careful. I mean, everything's been good. The one thing that in my head that I was thinking about while I was sitting here is I always see the same faces at all these meetings when we come or whatever. So I guess try your best to get more people, you know, to come and hear everything that's going on. And, you know, I would love to have more questions for the police department. If anybody does, I'm here. Who does? You do?
Yes.
Here I am.
No.
You've never held back, so.
Actually, I was hoping that we had some security committee meeting this month, but we didn't. So some of the complaints that I have heard have been Harrison Gardens, the hanging out continues. 311 Harrison, terrible. I went there myself last week. I was visiting a neighbor of mine, a former neighbor, and I walked in and hanging out in the hallway, the same thing that I used to go through. Unfortunately, I guess the residents there are afraid to call, so they don't, and they kind of just deal with it. One thing that I found odd that wasn't happening before that is happening is that it's not only happening on the first floor, so they're doing it on other floors. So like 4th, 6th floor, you have hangouts in the hallway. And I don't know if maybe it's new residents that are moving in and hanging out in those hallways. But not only is it a nuisance, after that they leave garbage everywhere. I mean, I have a resident that sends like, look, I have to clean this up. They party there, then I have to clean it up. And it's not fair to the resident, it's not fair to the maintenance department that has to go there every day and clean up. So I think that's the difference, and I think that we have to be a little bit more vigilant, I want to say. I'm glad to hear that there are going to be cameras on every floor, because then maybe, you know, that'll help us to curb what's happening there. But it's happening, and so that's one of the concerns. And we all know the concerns of the horseshoe. I mean, I don't have the same concerns as always.
So two. So the answer with the hallways, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but just so I would like everybody to hear the answer, is a lot of the times our hands are tied where we understand there's trespassers. We understand, we know. Sometimes there's other younger people hanging out with people that live here. That makes it tough, because we're not gonna just all day long, or well, you can be friends with him, you can't be friends with that's. I don't want to say that's not our job, but that's tough. That's your friend and whatever. And it is intimidating seeing the stairs blocked and stuff like that. Oh, you just want to simply bring your groceries in and go up. I get it. It's frustrating. We understand. Please call. If you want, block your number. It's okay. You don't have to give your name. I know our dispatcher will ask. You do not have to give your name. You don't.
They won't connect you to anyone unless you give your name. I said, lady, I could be getting killed. You asking me my name.
Right. Listen, the one thing I'll say about that is, please, if you're having a problem with our dispatchers, please let commissioners know. Please let Barbara know. She knows exactly what to do with that information. We've handled this before, this issue, and it's been handled. you know, by our command staff and the police chief. He does handle it. I'm sorry if that is happening. It's frustrating to hear. I get angry hearing it. We do try. It a little bit becomes on where we spoke about this with the building managers, stuff like that, where if it is young people that do live in the authority, who are we to say, hey, don't sit there?
But we can't as a housing authority, so I think that's what we
Right,
have
correct.
to become accountable.
100%.
All right, now wait a second, I got everybody talking all different directions. Let's get one at a time.
Go ahead.
I said, when you come out your apartment, you like to fall over somebody.
I know.
I'm a senior citizen.
Yep.
I have a hard time walking out there and you trying to get in your apartment all night long. It's mess going on up on my floor.
Just
been told, been told and told and told. There's nothing being done.
Please call us, because I could, one thing I will speak for, and one of the tour commander for this shift, 4 to 12, and one of the sergeants are here. On top of, I work this shift mainly evenings with my detectives. Our uniformed officers are doing a lot of vertical building sweep. We call them building sweeps. Going in, coming down. Sergeant Luciano actually emails the directors our arrest reports, stuff like that, to keep them updated. There have arrests been being made. Granted, if we make an arrest in one building, obviously we're out of service a little bit, you know, but we're hustling back down and we're trying, you know, I mean, we are trying very hard. We know our officers are doing the job because the proof's in the pudding. There's people that don't belong, they're trespassing, they're going in handcuffs, and they're coming up to the police station. Granted, they don't go to jail for just trespassing, but, you know, they're identified, they're arrested, they have to go to court. We're trying our best. I would say in certain buildings, please just make sure the doors are shut behind you. I know sometimes things are jammed. We all try when we're doing these building sweeps, we try to unjam them. We'll call the housing authority. I personally, when I'm working, will text message both directors at 11, 12, 1 in the morning, and they do answer. I can always tell you that. They always, one of them will answer my text. The horseshoe thing, we're working on it. We always work on it. I feel like just sometimes it's just too much. Right, when we make an impact, it takes a little bit of time and then it goes back and then we have to do it again. We're trying, we are, I promise you, we are trying. It's not a lack of trying. Like I said, our uniformed officers are making plenty of arrests. The detectives that I have working with me, we're making plenty of arrests. It's always a work in progress. I won't lie. I won't stand here and say, you know, on top of other things we have going on, we do try hard. So anybody having any problem communicating to the police department, please let one of your commissioners know, or let the director know. He'll contact me or one of us, and we'll get to the bottom of it, because our phone lines are taped, stuff like that. If you know the day and time, whatever, we'll find it out, we'll search it, and we don't want to hear that somebody's not getting their message through just because they don't want to give their name or phone number. That's unacceptable. We do take the call. So I hate to hear it, you know, so.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I told her, because she's my pastor's mother.
Okay.
I have told her and her daughter to call the police.
Mm-hmm.
She gets petrified, so she's not, you know, to call the police. And then she was told, if she go downstairs to get the security. I mean, she could, like she said, yeah, she could barely walk. Okay. So couldn't you have the officers like check these bills every floor?
But they do it. And early in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
But the idea is, the people that comes in, they'll come in before the cops come. They time it. I noticed, because I go to Dallas in the morning,
right.
And I'm out here early in the morning in the lobby. They'll wait till the security leave at 4, our security, and then they'll stand there and they'll hide in the corner, or they'll try to come in when you're going out.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you the incident on that, because when I went out 4 in the morning and told Mr. Greco when we had our meeting, the one guy, he hid in the corner. I didn't see him. When I went to the door, he scared me. He told me, oh, let me in. And I said, no. So he was like banging on the door, and I said, you bang the door, the camera's on. And he was like, sat there and waited. He said, well, ring the bell. He didn't want to ring the bell. So right then and there, I called the police department because I have to go out because the bus is picking me up. He said, well, I'll let me in. And I said, no.
Yeah, good.
So I made me a little cocktail thing, spray. That's what I did, I told him. So after I called the cops, then they waited and waited. It came, you know, it was a while. Then my bus came, and he came in. I was going out, the cop said, well, did you handle it? I said, no, I'm not handling it. You should have been here.
Yeah, they should have, all right.
But I didn't have time to look at his badge or anything.
Okay.
But I had to go on the bus.
Okay.
But I mean, when I came in, when I went out, he came in and went up on the elevator.
All right. It's something, we do check this.
Yeah, you
We
do
check
check.
220 Adams and 311 13th
You
Street.
do, you come in the morning.
Like you said, it's hit or miss.
I got you both talking, I
Oh,
got
I'm
you
sorry.
both talking.
It's me, that's my fault.
People come after 4. But sometimes people do it at nighttime.
Yeah.
Different other people coming in.
Okay.
And I said, why is you out so early in the morning? Oh, I'm going to the store. Yeah, you go to the store, right?
Yeah. Well, it's something we'll address. I'm sure the lieutenant and the sergeant in the back just heard you too. So it's something we'll address on this shift especially. And, you know, early morning, I'm glad to hear it. That's our midnight shift. I'm glad to hear that. So we'll talk to our people and maybe pick them up a little bit. This building specifically, just, you know, we'll shift around and try to fool them of when we're in here, and maybe we'll get them or not.
Okay, maybe I could answer my question. If you have a tenant right next to you that is constantly smoking marijuana, and you're scared to call the cops because you think that that person is going to harm you because you're calling the police officer, what are you doing?
So right now, so that's a specific problem.
That's right.
So smoking, so as we know, marijuana is not illegal anymore. If that's a specific problem you're having right now, we'll always help. You can always call the police for help. That's our job. That's what we get paid to do. I would suggest now speaking to the building manager, the director afterwards, because that's more of like a policy or a housing authority violation or whatnot, something like that. That would be something that the housing authority has to handle. I'm not saying we won't help, but it's not, if we went knocked on the door and they open the door and it smells like weed and we say, hey, how are you? Listen, whatever. And they say, well, what do you want? And we go, well, your neighbor, well, I don't want to talk to her. And close the door. They're allowed to close the door. There's nothing we can do.
It's legal.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's illegal. I'm sorry, guys. I think it's very important. I think this has now turned into a public safety meeting.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, and I'm not trying to be rude, Sergeant Collins. I know you're trying to answer everybody's questions. But I think honestly what we need to do is have a resident meeting with the police there so that you guys have ample time to discuss all these issues that are happening. These are things that are happening. They have been brought to my attention. I've been told they have been brought to the administration's attention. So I think that it's Andrew as the chair of the security committee, if we can have not just a committee meeting, but also a resident meeting specifically with the Hoboken Police Department so that the residents can speak and voice their concerns so we can move forward with resolving these issues.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Excellent.
Madam Chair, if I could make a suggestion, Director, while you're doing your meetings throughout the authority, maybe there's a way you could coordinate and having someone from the police department at all of those meetings as well. As these issues come up, you could have at least some representation from the Hoboken Police Department there, answer some of those questions in addition to very specific security and police issue.
We'll do. Yeah. And we'll reach out and be talking to Sergeant Collins.
Yes, sir.
Also, are we able to tap into the new hire of Miss Rubin, where she can also attend some of these meetings and help blast out the message? Is that like a shared thing, or are we not allowed to use her from a public safety standpoint?
Yeah, she's a city employee, so I mean, I would ask if she would attend those meetings. I have no problem making that request.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't see how it could hurt.
I think this also, Director, falls right into, as we noticed tonight, many of the issues that we're having seem to be more in the senior buildings. That's not to say that the residential buildings were not having problems. But this scares me. These are seniors. And not only that, we also have a company that is here. So to continue hearing that these issues are arising, it's a problem to me. Why are we paying them? Why are they not walking floor to floor? Why do I get calls that there's people in the hallway sleeping, that there's people in the stairwell sleeping? And I'm sure that maintenance, when they do their maintenance, they see it. They know somebody's been sleeping there. They know somebody's been there. I think we need to take it a little bit more seriously. I know that we discussed it briefly at our last meeting with the company that we currently have. But if they're not working, we shouldn't be spending our money on nonsense. We need a company that's going to fit our needs, that's going to make sure that our seniors are safe. And I think it's very important, if not at the top of the list, because seniors to me come first. I think that we need to look this over and review what's happening.
We agree with you, Chairperson, and we've met with the security firm a couple times. I've only been on for about 2 months now. We've met with them a couple times. We've instituted programs such as on every one of their sweeps, they're now giving us pictures of every floor to show every floor that they're on every night. They're giving us that log every day, every night. We've met with them, and I think we're starting to see a lot of change there. I have had a couple residents just before come up to me saying how much they like what our security company is doing now. So I do think...
And that's in this building? Because I had a complaint of 220 the other night, nobody being there.
Yes, I mean, that's what we've got. And now I can't say that if the company might have had a day where their person got sick and they couldn't come in, etc., that may have happened once a week, but Frank's in touch with them daily, and they're calling him and contacting him beforehand on any scheduling issue that they may have.
If I may.
Yes, you may.
That was the biggest change that happened was we asked them to, we don't have cameras on every floor. And when they tell me they have this report that they're giving us that tells us, okay, I was on the 9th floor, I was on the 7th floor. It's a time scan. I said, well, that doesn't tell me anything because I can't see you there. So in the software, they're able to give me a picture. So now every day I get a report for all 3 sites with everything that the security guard is doing. I have pictures of where the security guard is at every checkpoint. So when I print that out, it's about 20 pages per night per building. And then it tells me at what time they were in the lobby, what time they were on the first floor, a picture of the first floor. At what time they went to the second floor, a picture of the second floor. Now, you have one person and they're doing that. Could it be possible that you have somebody on the 10th floor and there's somebody on the first floor? Yes. And that is now part. The good thing about what Sandra said is that it's happening after the security guard is leaving. It's her issue. So that is a whole other topic because then it would happen after they leave. But at least what you're telling me is that while they're here, it seems to be better.
Yes.
So we will continue to work with them, and we are at the point that, like, I think we mentioned this before, it is the second company. We really want to get this company trained properly rather than just get a third company. Sure. Because we're going to start again from the beginning. They have been much more responsive than the first company. Their software has allowed us to build them better. They have a system of stickers that they take a picture of that creates this log that then is tied to their phones that then we get a copy of, so we have. And Emerald just shorted their last paycheck by a lot of hours because then I went through every camera, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, if they left early, whatever, we didn't pay them for that time. And now that they saw that, they were like, oh my God, so they are extra on that. So we are not going to let up on them and we're going to continue to tighten that.
Okay.
I want to assure you we take it seriously too, Chairperson.
Barbara, can I say something? I had said to Mr. Greco and Frank, when we had the security here before at 311 with the booth, there was always 2. The regular person, right, and an arm. Because a regular person walking these halls, if somebody's in the hallway, right, and there's one person here, and they go upstairs, they get beat up or whatever, and the person don't come back down, no one knows that that person went upstairs. The company should have 2 people here.
We wish we could. We wish we could have 2, 3 at every set. Unfortunately, our budget doesn't allow us that.
Oh, okay.
It's difficult.
So I think that overall concludes my report. I would like to mention that James Sanford has joined us. Commissioner Sanford?
Good evening, Mr.
I think you're with us.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we move on to the resolution?
I'm present.
Okay, thank you.
Resolution number...
I just have one question. can you give us, I might have missed it when you were doing it, but can you give us an update on the RAD program as according to the timeline that was originally sent out, where we're at and where we should be at?
Yeah. And I think two things. There is a lot of information in my report this time that I went over. Second is we are holding a special board meeting coming up on either the 23rd, the 27th, or 28th. We're going to have our total team here in person, and we'll be giving you very specific where they are and what they're looking at right now.
I guess we wait for that.
Ready? Resolution number 2023-0201, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for the January 12, 2023 regular board meeting.
Motion.
Second. Director.
No discussion. Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes. Resolution number 2023-0202, resolution authorizing the payment of the monthly list of bills for the Hoboken Housing Authority.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns?
So my only question is, it seems like there's a lot, we're spending a lot of money on attorney fees. And I this is not a shot against the work they're doing or anything, but like we're gonna be up to almost like $200,000 of attorney fees spent in a year. Like a lot of these projects always seem to, like we're trying to build new buildings, but in the end, like the attorneys and the consultants are the ones that make all this money. Is that being paid for through a different entity, or does that fall on our budget?
That normally falls under our operating budget. There's no doubt about it. And I think in today's litigious society, I think it's a stitch in time saves nine argument. We don't want to be in court. We don't want to be making policies that aren't legal in the most litigious state I've ever lived in. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing when we need to do it. And I think it's important as we go through these changes that we have good, solid legal counsel. And I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us as well as staff, Commissioner. It seems that every time we do a resolution, the attorneys have to make sure that it's correct, that it's worded correctly, that it's legal, that our policies are reviewed, that we're doing things right, because lawsuits are only a minute away. So we want to do things right.
Is the bulk of the increase in the attorney fees due to applications and paperwork for RAD?
I don't know if it's the bulk, but it's certainly increased over the last 2 years. There's no doubt about it, because of what we're doing with the RAD program and the kind of development we're looking at doing. There's no doubt that they're consulting with us, and we're making sure we're building that foundation correctly. There's no doubt. I don't know what the ratio is there, Commissioner, but certainly that has increased. Certainly.
My last question here. Would there be if we were able to get an amount of money for RAD to speed up the program? Like, do you foresee, I don't know how to phrase this, maybe this is an offline discussion, but is there like a down payment that is needed that's coming up soon to start the construction, or is it a financial reason why we're not going faster than we need to be?
No, there is not. No, there's no financial reason. We have to do this step by step. We have to have a redevelopment plan through the city. We have to. There's no moving forward. We have to have had the obsolescence study and now the application into the HUD Office of Special Applications. We must. All of those things must be done. We have a whole crew with the enterprise folks, ourselves, the HUD Washington folks that have all of our eyes on this, not to mention some of the current commissioners that are pushing and saying, let's get this done as quickly as possible. But you can only go so fast down this road. Now, once we're past many of these initial steps, things happen faster. But this planning process has to be done. It's regulatory.
And HUD is paying for more consultants.
And HUD is paying for the enterprise partner consultants, which helps a lot. But I don't know a way that we can go faster. This is done everywhere across the country, this type of process. And it's maddening sometimes, maddening for us as well, Commissioner, that we're not done in 2 months. We just can't, but that's not the way these projects are done.
Understood. Can you, if it's possible, if Emil can send a breakdown of the increase in attorney fees and what those relate to? I'd like to get a look at that. What percentage is RAD, what percentage is paperwork, whatever the case may be. If you can get that, that would be helpful. No rush there, but if you find some time.
We'll see what we can do for you, Commissioner.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato? Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Yes. Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
Jane Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes. Resolution number 2023-0203, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contract for laundry room operation.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns? Call the vote, Director.
Well, can someone, is there like, can the facilities subcommittee go through like a little thing of what's happening here? I don't.
Yeah.
It'd be helpful.
Yeah, sure.
Like give us a recap of what happened here and what.
I'll give it
why
to
we
you.
had to do this.
I'll give it to you quickly here, Andrew. We had 2 bids for the service. One of them was disqualified out of hand. They didn't follow the RFP process. They actually submitted a bid that was well above what's allowable. And then the other operator was the one that was ranked, and that's the one before us here tonight.
Thank you.
Director, vote.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes. Resolution number 2023-0204, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award an electrical services contract.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes. A resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to extend the contract for general construction services.
Motion.
Second. Direct, questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes. Resolution number 2023-0206, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to amend its procurement policy with respect to selection of developers for HUD-RAD repositioning.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
Yeah, did one get picked?
No.
What's to start the process?
Yeah.
Correct.
Executive Director, call the roll.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato,
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Michael Russo,
Aye.
James Sanford,
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
That's it.
Business?
Any new business?
None here?
Motion to close?
Motion closed?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, thank you all.
Recording stopped.
Keep moving. Something else. You couldn't even look over.